All right. Good morning. Come on, you can do better now. Good morning. Awesome. There you go. Thank you very much for coming out on a gray and slightly rainy morning to be coincidentally talking about water. My name is Dave Sepos, and I am the director of a program from Sacramento State. We are called the Consensus and Collaboration Program. Our former name was the Center for Collaborative Policy. There'll be a test later, so take notes. We function as third-party neutrals. We've been around for about 25 years, and we function in a range of facilitation and public meeting and engagement and things like that. I am a groundwater policy specialist in addition to being a facilitator mediator, and I will be your facilitator for today. So thank you all very, very much for being here. We have a great turnout. We've got some extra chairs in various places for folks that are coming in. Let me go ahead and orient you to a couple of things. I actually just need to check my own start time so I know when I'm starting. Just a couple logistical items. If at this time everybody could please make sure that you have silenced your phones, that would be great. We would appreciate that. I had already made an announcement, but I'll remind that we have down the hall in the meeting room that's behind us, we have both refreshments and we have a couple of informational boards, some of which is information that is on your tables that I'll go over in just a minute. We're not going to stand on formalities, so should you want to go ahead and get another snack or a snack you haven't had yet, by all means, just head on down the hallway. There's coffee, there's fruit, bagels, things like that. Restrooms, if you have not been here before, they're essentially right across the hallway over here, so you can exit out either of the doors, and they're right there for your use. Like I said, additionally, there's some informational panels that are in the back for you to avail yourself of and read. This is technically, just for the record, a Brown Act compliant meeting. So those of you that are not familiar with that, Brown Act is the Sunshine Law. It's the law that makes sure that when public meetings take place, if there are elected officials, that it has been publicly noticed. This meeting was publicly noticed on the agency, the Groundwater Agency site, and the websites of all of the agencies that are members. And we do that because there are, in fact, members of those various agencies that are all here today, and we want them free to be able to talk amongst themselves and to be able to talk with you. This is not a special meeting or a decision-making meeting, so we're not going to do roll call of any of those members. However, this has been noticed. It is available. And with regards to public comment, we will be doing, and I'll just sort of call attention to the agenda really quickly, and then our introductory speakers will go over it in more detail. But for every one of the agenda items, with the exception of this introduction part, there's going to be Q&A or some form of public comment, and then there'll be one last round of public comment at the very end of the meeting. So that's both fundamentally to make sure we're actually hearing from you all, but also to make sure that we're fulfilling those legal requirements. I want to thank, right at this time, the Felton Community Hall for hosting this. This is a beautiful facility. Many of you, my guesses, have been here before. I had not. It's a wonderful place, and thank you to the community and to the hall for letting us be here today. I want to go over the stack of materials that's on your table really quickly. So on your table, and so you can sort of start availing yourself of the following. Please note this. In front of every one of your seats should be an agenda packet. And so each of you should have right in front of you an agenda, a map of the groundwater basin, the Santa Margarita groundwater basin, a fact sheet both about the groundwater, the agency, the Santa Margarita Groundwater Agency, and a document called the Guiding Principles. So we'll be talking about, and I'm going to introduce the initial acronym today, which is called SGMA, SGMA, and that stands for the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. It's a new law that went into effect in 2015. It is what really brought this agency together and what brings you all here today in sort of direct or indirect ways. So that stack, again, agenda map of the groundwater basin, fact sheet about some information, and then the guiding principles. And the guiding principles is a set of common values and principles that this agency that is now going to be regulating groundwater in this basin just recently adopted. They were working on it for several months. I was working with them, and they've adopted these principles. There's poster boards in the other room of them, and then you have them in front of you, and they're a matter of public record. Also on your table, there's an initial question that I'd like you to draw your attention to, and hopefully folks have got pens, or if you do, we've got some extras, and if not, if you could share. There's a green card. So that is a green card, and it has the following question on it. What do you hope to get from today's workshop? So you do not have to fill it out by any means, but if you are inclined to sort of let us know what you're hoping to get out from today. Please do so. Throughout the day, as we are doing Q&A, I'm going to be asking for colleagues of mine or staff from the agencies to sort of be runners, if you will, and they'll move about the room and they'll collect those cards. Because of time frames and we need to stay on top of things, we already started a little bit late, the way we're going to always handle Q&A until the very end is we're going to have comment cards or question cards collected, come in, and I'll read as many as I possibly can for panelists or presenters. We will keep all of them. They will all be recorded. We're going to transition a lot of those questions that you ask if we can't get to them today, or even if we can. We're going to transition them into an ongoing FAQ, frequently asked questions file, and they're going to also go into the overall summary of this entire workshop series. So if we don't get to read them today, and I can almost be certain we won't just because of the numbers of folks here, please be aware we're going to save them all, we're going to record all of them, and your questions, we'll get to them and we'll get answered one way or another. Also in front of on your table, so in addition to the green card, which is again the question right there, which I encourage you to please start writing right now, and we'll collect them in a little while, is the following. We have a blue card, which is for our breakout session number 1, and then a beige card, which is going to be for breakout session number 2. I'll go over the logistics of how we're going to handle the breakout sessions when we get there, so I'm not going to belabor it now. Also on your table is should be 1 or 2 just single flyers that are announcing the rest of the meetings. As I think you know or hopefully know, this is actually an educational series. We're going to be doing 1 a month. So after today, next month on February 9th, we're going to do another meeting, and then in March, a 3rd and final meeting. And this is really a kickoff to much more robust education that the Groundwater Agency is going to be regularly doing. There are 2 final things that are on your table that are called worksheets. They're just basic white pieces of paper. It says breakout session 1 worksheet, breakout session 2 worksheet. I'll get to that a little bit later. There's a couple of pens and a couple of notepads should you need them. Last little items here. Regarding facilitation and the presenters, like I said, we're going to do the comment cards and the question cards and get them turned in. I would like to ask that all the presenters are going to go completely through their presentation, and then we'll open up the floor. That'll just kind of keep the flow of things. So we're going to let them go through there. Just so you know, I'm going to be standing over here, so if you see me loitering, waving something around, I'm not having a moment. I'm letting the speakers know where they are on their time, okay? This is being videotaped, as you can probably see. That's to make sure that for people who could not be here today, that this is going to be a matter of public record, and people can come to this because, again, ultimately, the ulterior motive here is education. The video will be posted and available, I've been told, on January 25th. There will be some editing to it, so it's not going to be a straight, full, you know, exactly as it was, but all the sessions will be covered, all the Q&A will be covered, all that. So, with that, it is now my very great honor to introduce to you 2 people who will really be doing the actual welcoming and introduction. Lois Henry was recently elected to the San Lorenzo Valley Water District Board, and she has now been furthermore been elected as the board chair. So Lois Henry is going to be here, and also Chris Perry, who is a member of the Scotts Valley Water District Board and is the chairperson, the current chairperson of the Santa Margarita Groundwater Agency, which is the host of this today. So without further ado, please give these folks a round of applause and welcome them.